Our daily devotional thought today is from Psalm 46, and we're going to read that psalm together. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, even though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea. Though its waters roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with its swelling. Selah. There is a river whose stream shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. God is in the midst of her, she shall not be moved. God shall help her just at the break of dawn. The nations raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice, the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. Come, behold the works of the Lord, who has made desolations in the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and cuts the spear in two. He burns the chariot in the fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. Someone has said that the only time you hear a newsreader use the word good is whenever they say good morning or good evening. I'm not sure if that's exactly true, because I think newsreaders do use the word good, but they don't use the word good very often because they're reporting facts and there's a lot of devastation and disaster in our world. And so the word good is not a word they use very often. But as we begin to read Psalm 46 this morning, it's a psalm that doesn't begin by talking about the state of the world or talking about our circumstances. It's a psalm that begins by speaking about the character of God and helping us to think about who God is. And the psalm says, God is our refuge and strength, verse 1, a very present help in trouble. A refuge is a place of safety. It's a place where we find shelter. And if you're familiar with the Old Testament, you'll be aware of the fact that throughout the Old Testament there were places called cities of refuge. And those places were specifically designated for people who had accidentally or unintentionally killed someone. They could make their way to one of those cities of refuge, and as long as they remained within the city, they could find shelter and safety and security there. But in Psalm 46, God is not telling us that there is a place of refuge. The Bible is telling us that God is our refuge, verse 1, and God is the source of our spiritual strength. And God is a very present help in trouble. It doesn't say, the psalm, that we won't have trouble, but it says that God is a present help in trouble. There's a difference, isn't there? Sometimes whenever we're in trouble, there's only the possibility or the prospect of help coming. But the psalmist says God is a refuge, He's our strength, and He is a very present help. He's there right now, whatever the circumstances are that you're facing today. God is there. Remember when Jesus sent out His disciples and He told them to go into all the world to preach the gospel and to make disciples. He also told them, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. And so this morning, as we begin a new week, we're reminded in this psalm that God is our refuge. He's the one we can find shelter and security in. God is the source of our strength, and God is present with us to help us in our trouble. And the psalmist says, as he speaks about the character of God, he says in verse 2, therefore, in light of who God is, therefore, we will not fear. Even though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea. God is not just our refuge and strength today, but God is reliable. And what the psalm's saying is, even though the greatest calamity, might take place, even in the most difficult circumstances, even when everything around us is absolutely chaotic, that the mountains should be carried into the midst of the sea. It has not changed the character of God. And so our circumstances certainly change, but God never changes. The Bible says God cannot change. And because of the fact that God is immutable, we can run to God this morning, and we can find refuge, and we can find strength, and we can find the help that God can give us for this day and every day, and therefore we will not fear. I trust that as you think about Psalm 46 this morning, as you reflect and remember who God is, that will be a source of encouragement. The psalm goes on to say, be still and know that I am God. May you know God's help. May you know God's blessing today.